clairephays.com and tap into your power. Thank you so much for joining me. This is the first of a series about the container. The container is one of the teachings that I use as a way of getting into right relationship with your power. Now for me, the container is a wondrous thing. And once you start looking, everything is a container. The walls of a cell, the earth itself, your coffee cup. And yet we can get how we are in relationship to various containers in our life, our thoughts, time, our relationships. So many things can tend to be, the words I use are too floppy or too squished. Yeah, too tight. I have to hold on, or like, I have no power, I can't do anything. That's an incredibly broad statement, but just know that I'm using too floppy and too squished as two ends of a spectrum. And we are constantly finding ourselves playing along that spectrum of getting into relationship to ourselves. And the beauty of the container for me is that is summed up by the words that I use: flexible strength. And one of the best examples that I know that we will be focusing on today is the EFT Tapping setup statement. And it goes like this: even though, boom, 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 the issue, I love and accept myself. Now, before we break that down, I just want to say that for me, this is one of the most elegant, classic, simple and profound statements, tools that I have ever come across. It has clarity, and yet there's so much flexibility. You get to be specific with your issue, really specific, but it's held in this beautiful container of even though and I love and accept myself. It does its job of opening you up through form. Yeah? So it's not letting you live in the chaos of your powerlessness or your victimhood or your blaming or any of the stories that we all run. It is a beautiful, simple container through which you can and will set yourselves, can and may set yourselves free. So let's look at it a bit more deeply and why I'm so passionate about it as an example of the container of flexible strength, of clarity and limitlessness, of specificity, I can't say that word, of being specific and being very open at the same time. A container which does its job, which after all is what a container needs to do. Yeah, and sometimes they need to be completely enclosed and sometimes they need to be very open. And this has that element, beautiful elements of both. So let's break it down. Even though, even though gives the possibility of redemption, of, it means it's about relationship. It's like, even though there's something going to follow that, isn't there? Even though, let me quote from my own book, Everyday Happiness, because I think I put it quite well here. I've put here, even though this sets up the relativity of the issue, whatever the negative statement, it is redeemable. Already present in the first two words, there is an element of compassion and heart. So I'm glad I read that because I think I said that quite well. So even though there is that element of compassion and heart. And then the meat of the setup phrase is the issue. We learn to get specific. We learn to get specific about memories, about moments in time, about thoughts, about feelings, about sensations. Of necessity, when I tap in these videos, there's going to be generalizations. Yeah. So always the best with EFT is to get specific for your own self. And we have the container that we are using, this technical container, and so I offer you other possibilities as well. So in that meet, even though I have this headache above the right temple in my forehead, even though I can't stand that he said that to me and it made me feel awful, even though I remember this occasion when I was a child and I learnt, even though I'm in a rush right now, even though I've got cancer, that was a big one, wasn't it, to throw in? But it's specific to you. It's your thoughts, your feelings, your sensations. It's the issue, what we call the issue. The third part of the setup phrase. This is the best bit. I love and accept myself. That is the spiritual container. Even though I'm a bad person, even though I'm telling myself I shouldn't have done that, even though they shouldn't do this, even though there's no hope, I love and accept myself. Even though I just stubbed my toe and I'm telling myself I'm really stupid, I love and accept myself. Now, I love and accept myself is an affirmation. You can replace that with you're a cool kid. Perhaps one day I'll think I'm okay. I'm the most amazing person in the universe. You can adapt it for your own vernacular, for whoever you're tapping with. But what I want to say is, for me, just listen. This came up with a client the other day. Even though I'm telling myself I did a bad thing, I am loved and accepted. For me, that's if we're looking at this level as well as this level, that is the logical next step, and also the heartfelt. You can hear it ring in your own being when you tap. Even though I'm telling myself that this is wrong, I am loved and accepted. Even though it's all chaos and I can't do anything, I am loved and accepted. There is love and acceptance. Isn't that amazing? Let's just take a moment. Even though I am loved and accepted, even though you are loved and accepted, even though we are loved and accepted. So that's going beyond the classic EFT setup statement, and I would very, very rarely go into that passive, loved and accepted, but I just want you to know that for me, those are the echoes, those are reverberations of I love and accept myself, because you know that most of us, most of the time, do not love and accept ourselves. And it's when we come into that right relationship of there is love here, there is love here, there is love here, that's when the magic happens. So I'm offering you the container of the EFT setup phrase to be a real gift and tool in your life. I do hope that you will use it. Next time I'm going to look at more examples of how to use the idea of the container and your journey to power. Thank you so much for being with me today. I look forward to being with you next time. Goodbye.